We're here at race start, racing from Geraldton, Western Australia to New Zealand. Pretty exciting. The race start was delayed slightly because the start line was drifting on this anchor, but apart from that it's been all fixed and we're off. We're running second after New York over here, around the marks and over the finish line, over the start line, sorry. So it's day 2 and we're sailing. We're going to be rounding Cape Leeuwin tonight, or this afternoon. As you can see, the sea state has increased a lot from yesterday. The reason for that being is that we've actually come out of the shelter from a reef that ran down the coast that was breaking up the sea state before we got it. We're still holding first place and we've gained miles through the night. So it's day 3 at sea. There's pretty rough conditions at the moment. We got some pretty sizable swell. Last night we were beating into this swell. And today we're running with it, which is pretty good. We have rounded Cape Leeuwin and crossing the Australian Bight, or heading down that way, en route for Tasmania. So still holding first place by 20 miles. Copying squalls of up to 50 knots of wind. Then it'll drop back to 20, give you a false sense of security, and then come and smash you again.
Hi, so it's day 5 at sea. We've covered about 800 miles so far, which is really good. We're still holding first place, although it's only by 14 miles, so it's not much of a lead at the moment. We're coming up to the scoring gate, so we should be passing that later today. And we've got the spinnaker up at the moment, the heavyweight spinnaker, and winds of about 25 knots, gusting up to 30 knots. So interesting sailing.
So it's day 6 at sea. We've got a bit of a low pressure system coming through now. Come over from the back there, we should have about 50 knots of wind. So we're still here in the Southern Ocean, 2 minutes after the last little video dory, and Rich broaches the boat completely. We're on our side and the rudder came out of the water, so he had no helm movement. Poor Fred was on the main sheet down in that bottom corner and he got washed down the deck and into that back corner there and was completely covered by waves. He got a bit of a cut on his eye, so he's gone down below and his life jacket was set off. So excitement for a Friday morning. So I was just on the helm and we just surfed a wave at 20 knots and that wave rolled into the wave in front, So I surfed 3 waves at 20 knots. Pretty fun. Hi, so it's 1:30 in the afternoon on day 8 at sea. If you look around me, the Southern Ocean at the moment is looking like a very, very sunny, beautiful place to be. But about an hour and a half ago, we had a major squall come through with our heavyweight spinnaker up. Gusted up to 46 knots of wind. Lucky for us, we didn't tear our spinnaker too badly, just one little 2-inch tear. But we did, however, have to blow our guy and cut our halyard to get it free, as it melted itself on the winch with the friction. So much force in the cut. So we lost both our starboard guy and our starboard sheet overboard. We don't know where they went, they're just gone, and had to cut the halyard to get the kite down. Luckily it was all taken down, we didn't break anything massively except for losing those sheets, and it's all good at the moment. We had a bit of a broach at the same time, but it's all settled down, back to 30 knots of wind, and we're just cruising along. We have the Yankee tube hold out, and full range.
Hi, so it's the evening of day 8 and Rich has basically just told us that we're about to sail into a perfect storm. So midnight tomorrow night, he's expecting about 60 knots of wind to come through, probably gusting 70. So we're talking about getting the trysail out tomorrow, doing your trial hoist on it, making sure everyone's aware of storm procedures and facing down the storm.
Hi, so it's 6 AM on day 9 at sea. Last night we passed the bottom of Tasmania and are heading over to Stewart Island now, which is the bottom end of New Zealand. And this morning, 5 minutes ago, we just had a search plane come past and we were like, oh, what's that? And then they circled us and then they circled us again. And then finally they contacted us on the radio. And it turns out it's crew member Gina Gooley who is joining us in the Gold Coast, and she's come out 180 miles from Tasmania on a plane to just say hi. So that was really cool. They've circled us like 6 or 7 times, came really close on some of them, and yeah, yeah, she got some great shots, so she's wishing us all luck on our race, and then they continued back to Tasmania. Pretty cool. So, started the low front coming through. We have cloud cover coming up behind us. We've got 30 knots of wind at the moment from the north. It's expected to back around and be behind us by the time it builds to 60. But things are a bit fruity and it's freezing cold on deck. See the start of the cloud cover there. Hi, so it's 4:30 on day 10, and we're about 47 degrees south in the Southern Ocean, so it's starting to get quite cold down here. Last night we were supposed to have the storm come through, so we did loads of pre-storm boat prep. The storm never quite accentuated to the dramatic wind strengths that we were expecting, so we had about 40 knots of wind as a constant, and then gusting up to 57 knots, so it was still fairly windy. If we hadn't have done our storm preparation, no doubt we would have had more wind and got flogged. So we've done all our storm prep, it all was fine, wrote it out, lasted about 6 hours to 8 hours, and everything's fine now. We've had blue skies all day and sunshine, so hi, so it's 4 AM on day 12. We had a bit of wind on this watch, so we gusted up to 47 knots. Apart from that though, it was fairly easy. We're sailing on a broad reach, so helming wise the waves can kind of push you around a bit and your Yankee sail flogs a bit if you can't hold your course. But we shook a reef out and we're just cruising along nicely now. We're at 48 degrees south, so it's starting to get really cold as well. So it was 7 degrees on deck, and just got off watch, so the sun's just about to come up. I've been on watch since midnight, and now I finally get some sleep. Woo! Here we go, it's a goodie! We just had a 17 knot surf. A few minutes ago we surfed away at 20 knots. Going to bed today, and boat routes up, and unfortunately they ripped a big chunk out of our mast track as the pole ripped off, as you can see there. It's 8 o'clock at night, it's freezing cold on deck. We've got quite a storm happening at the moment, so the winds have been averaging 45, gusting 50, 55. I've just done 2.5 hours on the helm over my watch, so pretty tired at the moment. Massive waves, like the size of houses, they're huge, and every now and then one will catch you on the side, so you've got to be really careful helming, took lots of concentration. Just in that size swell, it's just, you can't talk to anyone, you just have to focus on what you're doing. Almost crash dived once, but we saved it. Surfed a wave at 20 knots with 2 reefs in the main and no headsail, so that gives you an idea of just how rough the weather is at the moment and how much wind we've got. So it's not a whole lot of sail up, but getting it some rest now, have a hot meal, and at midnight back on deck for 4 hours. Thought I'd better explain the black on my face as well. We had Movember today, so we did some photos for Movember. So all the guys shaved their beards to a moustache, and then the girls, we had a moustache drawn on. So it's the remnants of mine after I've been on deck. Hi, so it's day 13 at sea, as you can see by the weather around me, It's a stark contrast from the massive swell we had recently. So Swell's completely petered out. We've rounded to Stewart Island, which is the bottom island of New Zealand, yesterday. So we're coming up the coast of New Zealand at the moment. Hi, so it's day 16 at sea. We've just had a really rough night last night where we did a sail change at 3 AM in the morning and 30-40 knots of wind straight on the nose, so the boat's like angled over really rough. Waves are crashing down the boat all the time. I was on the leeward rail trying to fix something at one point. I almost washed down the deck a couple meters and slammed straight into a stanchion. So I've got a really big, quite a damaged leg at the moment, where I've got a massive bruise on my shin. So that's pretty sore. It's just really tiring when you can't really get much sleep when you're off watch either, because you're getting air in your bunk and everything's just so loud and you're overpowered so much. It feels like you're gonna get flung across the room. Then this morning we got on watch and the winds gusted up from 20 to 30 and then went to 40, and so we put 3 reefs in the main, dropped the Yankee 3, hoisted the storm jib, and then we realised the reef 3 in the main was about to break, so we ran a new reefing line through it. So it's just been a really hectic watch again, really rough conditions, which makes it really tiring. Everything's soaking wet. I've got like a swimming pool in my boot. You can't really avoid that though, everything's just soaked. The only plus side is that it's not as cold as it has been. We're passing Cook Strait at the moment, which is a really famous section of New Zealand. And yeah, hopefully I'll get some sleep now. So it's day 17 at sea. Some wind. I'm spending a day becalmed and becalmed. We're now just cruising along with 20 knots of breeze, 15 to 20, and heading up to East Cape of the North Island of New Zealand. So we've got about 260 nautical miles to run. Hi, so it's day 18 at sea. Just had my hair cut by Annalise, which is awesome. And as you can see, we have some fairly light winds again. But over here is North Island of New Zealand. Hi, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Been up since 4 o'clock in the afternoon, did our watch, Hi's mother, which is fine. And then just as we got off watch, we hoisted the Yankee 1. And then had 35 knots of wind smash us. So it was a madhouse trying to get the Yankee 1 down, all hands on deck. I was up there in my base layers and my life jacket, and that was it. So I had like 2 buckets for boots. Then I put a reef in, and when we tacked to put the reef in, the running backstay broke, and then that tangled around the reefing pennant and stopped us being able to put a reef in. And it also meant we couldn't lower the boom, and we also tore our mainsail at the same time. So we couldn't lower our main, we couldn't lower the boom, we couldn't put a reef in. And then Rich had to go out the back of the boom and untangle the mess, and then we lowered the main down to stop the tear increasing, put up the trysail sail, and I set about doing some repairs. So the mainsail's now fixed. It's 12 hours later. I'm exhausted and getting 3 hours sleep before I'm back on deck for watch. We are 1 day from land still, still 100 miles to go. We're slowly getting there. So it is 2 AM on day 20. We are 12 miles from the finish line, finally. We have had some wind come through, and so we've just been flying the Yankee 2 staysail and the trysail above the mainsail, so that we can just make some forward ground. We've been able to average about 9 knots now for the last 20 miles, so that's awesome. And we're almost there. About another hour and a half, and we'll finally cross the finish line. And the nearest boat to us is Visit Finland at 90 nautical miles. So we've actually been gaining on them under the storm trysail, so pretty impressive. So it's 4 AM.